welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, Wize, and today's guest has climbed one of life's toughest peaks and built a new life on the other side of it. Georges Córdoba is a former CTO who faced stage 4 melanoma with brain metastases, underwent 10 surgeries, and survived. But he didn't just survive, he transformed. He's now a holistic health coach, speaker, functional nutritionist, energy healer, and founder of Quale Vita, meaning quality of life. And in this episode, Georges shares how he redefined healing, purpose, and vitality, and how you can too. Welcome to the show, Georges.
How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Nice, Georges, and thank you
Georges.
for having me as your guest. It's an honor. I love to share not only my story but hope and some of the stuff I've learned since 13 years ago. This July was my 13th year free of cancer, and and my 8th year as a holistic health coach. Like you said, I was a former chief technology officer when I was inflicted with advanced melanoma with 8 brain tumors, and 2 of them were not operable. So we can discuss a little bit of what happened there. In lieu of that stuff, I decided to write a book titled Beating the Odds, My Journey Through Holistic Health to Overcome Advanced Cancer, and it turned out to help me. That was on year 8. I fought the disease for 10 years, and I had 10 surgeries on me, including 4 in the brain, 2 gamma knives in the brain as well that worked. But on 2 of the tumors, it didn't work, and those tumors were not operable. They were in my back lobe. So it took faith and some other modalities, holistic modalities, to get rid of them. And I can say that very easily now, but it was a rough 10 years. Yeah.
Like you said, you underwent 10 surgeries, including multiple brain operations. At what point did you say that there must be another way?
Yeah, good question. It was on year 8 when I had my first craniotomy. It went from ear to ear. It took about 8 hours to remove that tumor. Thank God nothing happened in any of those 4. But it was then, as I and everybody else in the West, we are trained to think that we only have one option, which is going to an oncologist and do conventional stuff. And I found out that is not the case. And I probably would not be talking to you if I didn't make this decision of stopping that stuff that was not helping me. It doesn't help everyone. And so I decided to take, with a leap of faith, to take the natural route, the holistic health route. And like I told you, it's been 13 years in this past July. But it was at year 8 after that craniotomy. They gave me this. I was broke financially. My insurance was tapped out. My wife and I had to, we had at the moment 5 young children. We had to tap into the college funds, our 401ks, our IRAs, and even like that, it was a financial tsunami. But at one point, like everybody else, because I didn't think of anything else possible out there. After this craniotomy, they gave me this new quote unquote chemotherapy that would penetrate the brain, and it would help me out. I also allowed them to do 6 weeks of radiotherapy in my head. Big mistake, but I didn't know better, and so I accepted those pills. It was oral. It was capsules. By the way, $1,000 each capsule,
Wow.
and it was one a day for a week. I would take out the weekend off, and then again one a day for a week, and that for 3 weeks. That was the cycle. But on my 6th one, my second Monday, and I took it, and I literally thought I was getting a heart attack. I was all over the place. I was jumping from the roof, I guess, and anxiety attack. My wife wasn't there. The kids were in school. So I kind of panicked. I do play the piano. I'm a pianist as well as a tennis player. I don't know if you saw my bio, but the bottom line is that I just finally lay down to try to, you know, just lay down and wait for the storm to pass. It did pass. My wife got home at that time, and as I was laying down, I started to think that that was it. There's got to be other alternatives. I was just tired of 8 years of surgery, treatment, remission, celebration. Yeah, I'm off. I'm off cancer, and then recurrence. So on year 8, it was the same stuff. And at that point, I already had 9 surgeries and one craniotomy. On year 8, 8.5, and so yeah, it was that experience. I asked my wife to take me to church, where we're faithful people of faith, and I just got there. I went to the chapel. The church was closed. I went to the chapel and just cried my butt off, Will, and I just basically surrendered. So I surrendered to the process, and the one thing I was praying for was discernment. I just said, well, these people are trying to help me, but it seems like they don't know how. And melanoma, which is what I had at that time, was very unknown. It was unknown here, and it is a very aggressive form of cancer, and it's also very unpredictable. It could show up and right, on my lymph nodes, which is in the beginning that happened to me. In both of my necks, from each of the neck, they removed total of 45 lymph nodes.
Mm.
In my right, which is the second surgery I had, they had to, because there were 3 lymph nodes that they couldn't get to, they sacrificed the muscle, a neck muscle here, and part of a nerve. And it turns out that out of the 23 lymph nodes that they extracted, those 3 were positive. So thank God they made that decision. At the end of the day, I was a very lucky human being with that. And frankly, if it wasn't for the really real good surgeons that I have, especially the neurosurgeon, I would not be talking to you. Now, where I have a beef is in the form of therapies that still are there, and they're very expensive, and there's a business between that. I'm not afraid to say this at this point, but yeah, the oncologists, even with family doctors, they get the drugs at a wholesale, and they mark it up, so the patient or the insurance company pays for it until the insurance company runs out, and then you're on your own. So it wasn't. This is something that I don't wish to anyone. But on the other hand, when I look back 13 years ago and being free of cancer by going for 18 months at that time on the holistic route, I can see now that as a blessing, because God gave me the chance to sing the song I was born to sing, which is what I've been doing for 8 years, helping people that are going through chronic diseases, not only cancer, but my key and premium package 101 is for people with cancer. However, I just started a movement. It's called the prevention movement. The state of health in our country is really gloomy. We're the worst in 10 out of the top 10 countries in the world. We're the sickest. 66% of our nation today. I was invited to speak in Vegas 3 months ago, and they asked me. It was my second time there. They said, "Can you bring the state of health of the U.S.?" And I said, "For sure." And so as I was going through it, American Cancer Society, the National Cancer Institute, the Harvard School of Health, um, Wow, 66 of 100, 66% of US adults have one chronic disease right now. 40%, 44% of those 66 have one to four chronic diseases at the same time. 146 million US adults are obese. 20% of those are chronically obese, and 20% of kids 2 to 18 years old are obese right now. If we don't do anything, if things don't change by 2030, around the corner, man, um, half the nation will be obese, and that causes so many other diseases. And
Mhm.
you know what's frustrating, my friend, is that no one is doing anything except now. And I really pray that they don't try to get him out. But Bobby Kennedy's doing a wonderful job trying to change that, even working and trying to negotiate with pharmas that are really abusing us. I mean, I don't believe there is a will. They might say it, but if they find, they can't find it, by the way, and I'll tell you why. But if they say, oh, we're going to find the cure for cancer and this and that, no, cancer is not, I mean, you can't do that. And if they could, they wouldn't do it because their business goes down.
Yeah.
This is the most lucrative business in the world.
It benefits them more for to maintain to keep us
Oh,
and maintain us unhealthy.
absolutely. Yeah.
It benefits them the most. If if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't put half of the food that they put out there, especially in our supermarkets. There's stuff that we sell in our supermarkets that other countries won't even touch,
Mm-hmm.
and they continue to put
Mm-hmm.
it out and continue to feed us these foods. Like I remember growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was like we didn't eat McDonald's every day. It was like maybe once a month or so when your parents would be like, "Hey, for a treat,
Mm-hmm.
you out to McDonald's or whatever." But now it's just every day.
Every day.
Eating McDonald's every day or fast food every day, and it's just it's convenience. It's people like, "Oh, I don't want to go cook," or
Yes.
and that's just this food that we're this processed food that we're eating isn't healthy for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's a reality. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, yeah. So you made a full pivot into holistic health, coaching, nutrition, energy work, hypnosis, and more. Which practices were the hardest to adapt and the most powerful to apply?
They are all powerful. The thing is that I've been doing that to add more value to my services. And
Hmm.
like I say, right now, actually, incidentally, after that talk in Vegas, the keynote speaker there was heard my talk, and it was 10 of us doing 15-minute talks, and then he did an hour keynote on the final day. But I spoke right before him, or two people before him, and when I went down, he said, "Man, your story is amazing. You gotta keep up there on stages and say what. I know that if you have the whole hour, you can really teach what happened with you and what you did." So the hardest one of them was the hypnotherapy, rapid transformational therapy. And it was because it was more clinical. But the use cases, man, really, I was so excited to be able to add that to my protocol. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to let prospects and clients, let people know um, that all diseases, chronic diseases, are not hereditary. That's one big myth. People think that is, oh, and they still, this is all dictated by the pH, starts with pH, that they say Do you have diabetes in the family? Do you have cancer in the family? Do you have this in the family? These diseases are not hereditary, it's lifestyle. And here's something that you guys in the audience and you yourself will need to know. This might be new for you. Some of you, maybe some of you know it. All disease, all diseases are emotional, and they all start without exception on bodies that are acidic, inflamed bodies. We have too much acidity in the body, and that's caused by stress, emotional clutter that we carry, and our diet. And also, not only our diet, but how fast we eat. Even though you were mentioning McDonald's and all this food, when this new trend of food, fast food and all this stuff, that really was the beginning of our of how this nation is so sick right now. Because here's something that you must know: the average U.S. adult chews 6 times before they swallow, only 6 times. And the stomach is not designed. As a nutritionist, I actually specialize on the digestive tract and the vagus nerve. We're not designed. This beautiful divine design is not for somebody to just swallow so fast and just dump all this stuff into the stomach. We're supposed to chew at least 20, depending on the food, at least 20 times. The reason for that is that digestion starts in our mouth. Our saliva enzymes are their whole the goal for them is to process the food before we swallow so the stomach can do its job. But if we don't process that in our mouth, the stomach has no other option but to store that into fat, which eventually it becomes acidic. But not only that, because we had an interrupted digestion, about half hour later, you're hungry again. And there goes the loop. And then you go and get a unhealthy snack or whatever. And the same thing, you eat it in no time. And so we are the ones that get ourselves sick. There's no hereditary. This is something that was found 15 years ago with epigenetics, but nobody says anything. They just keep it quiet so everybody continues to get sick, and they can, and all the doctors have the license to sell us drugs. And then we become addicted to them. We it just and I have some history, some stories in these 8 years when it's really, and particularly one now, an ex-client of mine, she really did not follow through with all the stuff that she learned with me. And now, after so much stuff trying with the doctors, they finally opened her up last Wednesday, and they send her home. They say, no, we cannot do anything else, so try something else. Oh, you're telling me now, 7 years later, millions of hundreds of thousands of dollars later, and you say that you can't do anything for me? You know how many times that happens? Over 50% of the time. So it's time to really wake up. One thing that is positive, though, real quick, is that youngsters are really, because of all the information that is out there, and in actually the positivity of AI, if you use it as a assistant, they're learning. They're really learning about some stuff that they were kind of like status quo, and right now they're saying, "Hey, wait a minute." And my kids, for example, they say, "Wow, Dad, stop that stuff," and so they can't stop telling people, "Hey, my dad stopped and look, survived." The other five that started with him didn't make it. So yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so, quale vita means quality of life. What does that
Mhm.
look like day to day for someone rebuilding health?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
W- What does that look like day to day for someone rebuilding their health?
Mm. Well, great question. The whole thing with rebuilding the health, it's easier than many people think, because once you understand that you have the power to healing from the inside out, which is really what happens, we have that power. And now, as a hypnotherapist, I can tell you everything is in your subconscious mind, not in your conscious mind. So when you go out down there and you clear the clutter that you've been building since you were born, in many cases, since you're in your mother's womb, then all of a sudden you have this reframe and this transformation, and then with some guidance and methodology, within 2 or 3 months, they see amazing differences in them themselves with all the energy they're getting and the work that we do with the mind. They have this confidence. So now all of a sudden, as they feeling better, they're saying they keep that word. Wow, quality of life. This guy was right. If you do the work, remember this. For many in many of the avatars, but the old in the New Testament, one of the apostles said, "Do not deceive yourselves. Show me your faith with your actions, because faith without action is dead." And so that goes to us individually. I took my faith and put it into action, and I started to look for other venues. And I always said, this can't be happening. You blessed me with 5 beautiful kids. They're all young, and now you're taking me. This doesn't make sense. And I kept saying that. So the answer, in a nutshell, is the client realizes and starts building confidence and self worthiness as they go week to week and doing the work that I give them weekly, because we have to take action steps. And what happens typically that in a month and a half, maybe a little more than that, they start realizing that, I don't know, should I keep going with this chemo and stuff? I'm feeling so well, because here, well, this is something that I get asked a lot of times. What does holistic health mean? Well, holistic health means treating the entire being, not only the symptom or the disease. And the entire being is your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self. That's a holistic. And so we try. I use the metaphor of the 4 legs of the table. One of the legs is your physical self. The other one is your emotional. The other one is your mental, and the other one is your soul. We have to work. If one of those is missing, the table cannot stand. So the entire approach is different than just the symptom. But what I found, though, is for because of the mind has 13 rules of the mind. There's 13 rules of our powerful mind, and one of them is that the mind goes to what is familiar. And for all of us, what's familiar when we get a chronic disease, especially cancer, is to go to an oncologist. An oncologist. No other questions in our mind. There's no other possibility, because we're familiar to go there. But I added to that quote and I say, but the key to healing is to explore the unknown, which is what I did. I started going with faith, obviously, no competition, faith. Faith and purpose. Let me find out what venues are there for me to try. And I got into acupuncture, massage therapy, energy work, Reiki, which later I became a Reiki teacher and practitioner with my wife. We both had different careers, but my disease made us change. So yeah, the whole thing is, it's a process, but it's a positive process. And once they see the initial results, they get so motivated to continue to do this stuff and say, why didn't anybody teach me this? Why do all I see on TV is a beautiful, or a guy with a six pack eating a triple whopper and this and that, or having a beer, and the ladies, why do they do that? What is the purpose behind that? The illusional happiness, and then it's crazy, but that has a negative impact on all of us.
Yeah. Uh, so what role does mindset, emotional healing, and forgiveness play in the transformation your clients have to do?
And you asked some great questions, Will. I like it. Yeah, big. Like I told you, the holistic self is the key. And the role, for example, with emotions, which is really the root cause, along with all the acidity that we create ourselves with the way we eat fast, and then we're anxious, we get anger, maybe in traffic or whatever. All the stuff produces cortisol, and that's what makes our bodies acidic. So let's start with it. First of all, let me give you like 2 minutes on each of the legs of the table. The physical body, the first thing I do is, as a nutritionist, I help my clients. We do a gut test, and I have them do a stool sample. That I don't charge for that, but I tell them where to do this, and so we get results about what kind of foods really they should stay away for. There's not It's not about allergy, but what they do to their metabolism and their gut, because everything starts in our stomachs, in our gut. So we do that first, and then we go through a practical way of eating. We're not talking about types of foods right now, because this is the first thing they learn is in terms of nutrition and digestion, 25% will is what you eat, but 75% is who you are when you're eating. And most people eating only 10 minutes, even though if they're employed, they have a whole hour, but it's fast because they want to go and do errands or whatever. That's a no-no. You do that every day in breakfast, lunch, dinner. Well, you're already home, but you do it twice a day. Within 20 years, some or more or maybe less, your body will send you a medical bill saying, hey man, you got a chronic disease, you have this or that, because we do that to ourselves. We have to slow down. We have to make sure we trick our nervous system that we are relaxed when we're eating. So I do some practical stuff. I give them some documents where they can realize, oh my goodness, yeah. So we make it fun. For example, let's say you're having a very very healthy lunch at a park, and then all of a sudden you see this pit bull running to you, and you see you can feel the intentions. So you have two choices: fight this animal or flight, but you're eating. So at that moment, when you make your decision to, you know, run, and your body, your digestion freezes, and everything goes to natural cortisol, adrenaline and cortisol, to go away and save your life or save to being beaten. And but the thing is, your nervous system does not know if it was a pit bull, or if you were stressed in traffic, or you had an argument with somebody, a friend or whatever. It doesn't know. It just knows that you are producing cortisol and you're not relaxed. So your digestion does not go well. So there are tricks to do that. And actually, when it becomes a habit. So that's why my program is not only like a week or two. The shortest I have is 3 months. But as you start changing some of the habits and learning that, let's say you might have already had, let's say, a discussion with your partner, business partner, or somebody in the office, and you're gonna go to eat. Well, take a couple deep breaths before, when they put the plate on in front of you. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And what's going to happen is that then you trick your nervous system to say, oh, Will is relaxed now. Let's have a good digestion now. And then on top of that, I say, and remember, eat slower, chew more, take at least 20 minutes for your meal. And when they starting to do that and see the difference in how they feel, how they sleep, their energy, and the more energy you have, the more motivated you are to heal yourself or to prevent disease. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a bit. I it's a bit. I've had massive weight loss, and then I feel the difference from last year to this year.
Wow.
And
Awesome.
and so yeah, it's like I lost like a complete body off of me,
Hmm.
and it's just the energy, just the way I move. Like there's so much going on. Like I no longer have to take my blood pressure medication. Uh,
Hmm.
no longer have to take metformin because I've had to switch up my diet. I've had to switch up what I eat, how I eat, chewing my food properly, spending more time chewing, learning how to chew, and
Exactly.
so it's something that we as we don't. It's something we don't do. We're always constantly eating fast. Like we're in the
Yeah,
car eating. Like we don't get to sit down and properly digest our food.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So do what's next for you and Quale Vita? New programs, outreach, books.
Yes, yes. I'm actually probably going to launch my second book in December. It's the title is "Stop and Smell the Roses." In other words, slow down and see the beauty of Mother Earth and enjoy it, because time flies. Look, we're almost at the end of the year, and it's going to come to a point in our lives that we're going to look back and say, "What did I do? What I." And it's interesting because I did some voluntary work in hospices with Kindred Hospice, my wife and I. And the common denominator is, man, if I had 10 years of me, I would take it easy and do the things that I always said I wanted to do. And why not? Why didn't they? And that is tough, man. That's amazing. And I was asked. I heard somebody at Larry King. Remember Larry King? And he was introducing this gentleman, and one of the questions, I forgot the name of the guy, but yeah, he said Larry asked him if he was afraid of dying, and he said, "Well, no, I'm not afraid of dying. What I'm afraid of is leaving this planet without having done what I was supposed to do." And
Mm,
that's another issue all around. And so the next thing is the book. And 2 weeks ago, I launched my Prevention Revolution program, which is not a cohort program; it's a rolling program, and it's all about preventing. There's already 8 people in the program. Two of them are still lingering with one with type 2 diabetes, the other one with breast cancer, but they're on the way out of it, not that they're leaving the planet, out of their situation.
yeah.
And so I accept them because this protocol is very similar than the one I do for the one-on-one cancer premium, thing, which is a whole year. And I'm very excited about this because my whole thing now is, uh, if I, for example, I was in Toronto um, a month and a half. I'm sorry, this is in Colorado in August, and I asked if there was somebody in the crowd that was going through cancer or any chronic disease, and 2 people raised their hand. It was a small crowd, I think 70 people. They had it online as well, streamed online. And the event planner, when I finished, she's an amazing speaker, and she asked me, "So you do one-on-ones, right?" It says, "Imagine if you, instead of asking who here has cancer or any other chronic disease, you ask who here would like to avoid. Just share your stats and say who here would like to avoid being part of that statistic. Or if you are, just get rid of that." Everybody will raise their hand. So that is what motivated me to say, "Wow, let me put this one-on-ones into a group, but it's all about prevention, so we can actually stop." Really, it's my advocacy now to stop the statistics, reverse them, man, before we become just an ill nation. 66%. We have to reverse that, or at least stop the damage. So that's what's next to Quale Vita. I'm so excited about it because now, instead of one on one, which I have a limit or I burn out, I can help many more people. And actually, obviously, at the end of the day, it helps my business as well because I'm doing more people. And the whole thing too is continuing to learn. I mean, I'm always on the look about and doing courses on different modalities, new modalities in nutrition, and obviously continue to be in touch with the hypnotherapist group, which is it's called Rapid Transformational Therapy. And they're based in London, so it's just continuing to learn and singing the song I was born to sing, which is helping people, man, and giving them hope.
Awesome, amazing. Yeah, that's great. So for someone listening who's battling disease, feeling powerless, what's your message?
Well, gosh, there's so many, but no one, my friend. First of all, healing happens from the inside out. It's hard to understand that when we've been trained uh, otherwise. But there's, like I said, there's another 12 rules of the mind, not the one that I share. And then there's a quote that really changed my life when I was really wondering, because you do wonder and you have self sabotage when you're going through a mountain the size of a cancer or any other chronic disease. It could be arthritis, painful, anything. No one will believe in you until you believe in you. And the answers are within, not from the outside, not in the media, not in books. It's inside. And if you don't give time for you to be in still time, because we seem to think that we have to run since we wake up, if we don't stop and smell the roses, and we don't stop and breathe and give ourselves a chance to be creative before we start the day, you definitely will have some sort of a health issue in the future. If you want to know more about this, if you permit me, you can reach out to me. I'm actually changing my website, but you can email me at Georges at isyourhealth.com. I will share some links with you, Will. I would like to give you and your audience a giveaway, an ebook that I wrote about how to balance your pH, how to take acidity out of your body so you can prevent disease. And if you have it, you eliminate. You're eliminating the environment, the acidity, and so that with a little bit of help emotionally, you will not even get a cold. And if you're sick, like I say, you're destroying the environment that the cells strive to duplicate in, which is an acidic body.
Looking back, if you could tell that scared patient you one thing, what would it be?
you know, um, it's mindset, it's attitude, it's knowing that you created your situation, no one else, no one to blame, your parents, or anyone. It's you. It's your ways. It's. I have a colleague that also went natural and survived. He actually didn't even have a round of chemo, and he was 23, and against the family, his wife, he stood up his oncologist for the first chemotherapy session. He never went. He had the surgery. It was colon cancer. He never looked back. And he has a quote that I have in my best-selling book. By the way, my first language is Spanish, but I launched the book in English, Beating the Odds, in 2021 January, and it became bestseller day one in my genre. And then in April, in St. George's Day, I launched it in Spanish, and it did also almost at midnight, but it did make it as a bestseller on day one. Now, the thing about this, the question about as a patient, what my feelings were. Well, nobody, especially with cancer, nobody wants to hear that diagnosis. We are humans, and even Jesus was scared when he knew what was coming to him as a human. And so I learned that, and like I say, I do a lot of reading and other avatars in the Hinduism and I'm very open to spirituality because it's one source. But the thing that I recommend to everyone that just heard the diagnosis is to understand that it didn't happen to you. For some reason, it happened for you. You have an opportunity here to grow and say, "Wow, wait a minute! I wasn't even caring about anything, and now all of a sudden, my life is the most important thing." Of course, it is. But this is a wake up call. This guy, uh, that I told you, I quote in my book, and he says, "Hey, cancer is a divine touch in the shoulder. And that touch in the shoulder has a message. And that message is, hey, you have to change your ways because you're killing yourself." And so that's easy to say now, but I was an emotional roller coaster the first 2 or 3 weeks of my diagnosis, and also because I was already quite advanced, and I had no idea. Because melanoma, you don't feel anything; it's just killing you, and you don't know. And but the other thing is your attitude and learning how to manage your disease. If you, and I don't blame you, if you just go straight to an oncologist, interview the person. I have, for example, and I can actually share this in case somebody's going through cancer, a questionnaire that you can ask the doctor. He's your employee. You're hiring this person to help you. Ask him the questions you want to know. Ask him how many people with the medicine that you're going to get are still alive, and if you can talk to them, if they've been alive for 5 years. Why being scared of asking that? Ask them if it is true that they get the chemo at one price and they mark it up. Ask them. Don't be afraid to do that, because you deserve to know who's going to have, in a way, your life in their hands. So, just do that. And then the other thing that I did is I avoided the fear energy. So when it was my time to go for my appointment, I would already I did it from almost the second week. I told the practitioner, Christina is her name. I say, look, I'm gonna be waiting in the hospital's yard. This is in South Miami, in Jackson Memorial, the Sylvester Cancer Center. And so she said, okay. So she would actually text me, or actually beat me at that time. So to let me know that I was next. So I would go at that point. So I wouldn't, I avoid waiting for half hour or so in that energy of fear, the caregivers, the patient, because it's normal, but you don't want to be fed with that. You want to be fed with positivity and knowing that you have the power from within. So on the mental side is learning visualizations, and doing some exercises that I work with my clients, and I teach them and I customize them for them, where you can see how this divine line or whatever you choose is taking all the tumors in your body and melting them away, sending them back to be recycled to in Mother Earth. And that's so powerful. The mind learns by repetition, my friends. The mind that doesn't know if what you're saying is true or false, and that definitely does not know about tomorrow or yesterday. It only knows what it is today. So if today you say, I'm healed, you probably won't believe it yet. Your ego is going to say, oh, come on, George. You're saying you heal, man. You you know, but I guarantee you, if you practice these visualizations and you affirm on a daily basis that you're healed, your conscious mind is telling the machinery guys out there that don't know but just take orders. Oh man, Will is saying that he's healed, so let's act on it because it is the present moment. I'm healed, and I guarantee you that you will experience some transformations in your lives, whoever it might be ill at this moment. But if you do it even before that, I'm healthy, I'm being thankful, grateful for your health, you're going to get more of what you're grateful for. That's a universal divine law. The more you're thankful for something, the more you get of it. It seems so simple, huh? But we don't have the mindset or somebody to teach us that and hold us accountable. And that's really where coaches, people like me, really are here to do. And I have so many wonderful colleagues doing this. A couple of ladies, several guys. And the common denominator is that we're survivors. We were cancer survivors. Yeah.
All right, George, we've come to the part of the show where you're going to get the solo screen and you're going to get to plug away and let everybody else know where they can find you. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest. I greatly appreciate your patience with the technical difficulties we had earlier. But thank you so much. But now here you go. Here's the screen, and just plug away.
Yeah. And yeah, I understand about the technology because I was a CTO and I studied computer science. So for me, it's nothing new. But anyway, yeah. Um, Again, I have a new program. I love to have, if you want to have a clarity session, complimentary, you can reach me out via email at this moment because my website is being updated. And if I give you the URL, it's going to crash. So you can email me to Georges with it as Georges at isyourhealth.com. And I will send you a Calendly link for you to schedule a call with me. And I guarantee you, especially with this prevention program, if you are a caregiver and kind of are worried about maybe getting infected with any of these diseases, this is the program for you. If you're going through cancer or any other causes diseases, let's talk. It is complementary, and then no cells. It's just so you know all the different things that you can get your hands into. Georges at isyourhealth.com. And also check out with my name, Georges Córdoba, or Beating the Odds. You can get a hold of my book in Amazon, which is really it's been doing very well and on its own. I have not promoted that other than podcasts, and it's also a life changer, both in English and Spanish, if you prefer Spanish. But and lastly, be on the look on either YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Georges Cordova. It's the tag is healing inside out. Then obviously I'm in Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can find me there, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Meanwhile, God bless you, and keep on, keep looking and searching for quality of life.
Thank you, George, for being such a great guest. I appreciate your time. But don't leave just yet. Let me close out the show and we'll chat a little bit off the air. But thank you
Mhm.
so much for being such a wonderful guest once again.
Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure's all mine. All right, everybody. Another great episode is in the books. I greatly appreciate my guest, Georges Córdoba, for stopping by and sharing his story. If George's story moved you, go check out his book, Beating the Odds. Like he said, he has some links. I will be putting them in the description and everything for the show. You can definitely reach out and get a hold of George and everything. It's very important that we do. focus on taking better care of ourselves. So if, like I said, if you want to reach out to George, I will be putting the description, and definitely go check out and send him an email and set up like he said, a complimentary session with him. So definitely check it out. So once again, thank you. Keep fighting. Stay hopeful. Stay wise. You know how your boy Wize does it. Peace out.